The art of stillness, finding strength in a restless world. The world has never moved as fast as it does today. Every second your phone buzzes. Every minute a new pressure arrives. Another expectation. Another distraction. Another reason to doubt yourself. People run everywhere chasing careers, chasing relationships, chasing validation, chasing the impossible idea that they must keep up or be left behind. But in this storm of noise, there is one rare skill, one forgotten power, one ancient practice that can change your entire life. Stillness, not weakness, not silence, not laziness, but the calm strength that comes from a mind that refuses to be pulled in every direction. This is the art that Stoics mastered. This is the art the modern world desperately needs, and this is the art you're about to learn. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are standing in the center of a crowded marketplace. People yelling, cars honking, phones ringing, everyone rushing, pushing, demanding, talking. You want to breathe, but the world doesn't let you. Now open your eyes. That marketplace? You carry it inside your mind every single day. It lives in the notifications you check before you even get out of bed. It lives in the anxiety you feel when you compare yourself to others. It lives in your fear of disappointing people. It lives in your habit of reacting to everything instantly. The noise outside becomes noise inside, and the noise inside becomes the prison you live in. Seneca said, "Is greater than to be everywhere is to be nowhere." And that is exactly where most people are today. Everywhere, except with themselves. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man named Armand. He wasn't famous, he wasn't wealthy, he wasn't chasing anything extraordinary. He was chasing something worse. Approval. At work, he said yes to every task even when he was drowning. At home, he pretended to be fine even when he was falling apart. On social media, he tried to look happy even when he was breaking inside. Every day he ran faster, and every day he felt emptier. One night, exhausted and frustrated, he asked himself, "Why do I feel so tired even when I haven't done anything meaningful?" He didn't know the answer yet, but the Stoics did. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Is greater than you have power over your mind, not outside events." Armand had no power over his life because he never paused long enough to notice he had a mind to control. Stillness was missing, and without stillness, strength cannot grow. Stillness is not sitting in a cave. Stillness is not running away from life. Stillness is not being silent all the time. Stillness is a state of inner alignment. It is clarity without chaos. It is peace without fear. It is action without panic. It is strength without shouting. Stillness is being unbothered by noise, being unmoved by drama, thinking before reacting, observing your emotions instead of drowning in them, knowing what matters, and ignoring what doesn't. Stillness is when your mind stops fighting itself. One rainy evening, Armand sat in his car after another exhausting day. He looked at his reflection in the windshield and whispered, "I don't even recognize myself anymore." For the first time in years, he didn't turn on music. He didn't open his phone. He didn't distract himself. He just sat there, breathing, listening to the rain, letting silence settle inside him. And in that silence, something strange happened. He felt the weight he had been carrying for years. He felt the emotions he had been avoiding. He felt the exhaustion he had been denying. But he also felt something else, clarity. Because silence reveals what noise hides. The Stoics believed every answer you seek already lives inside you, but you can only hear it when the world grows quiet. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Is greater than nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Stillness is that retreat, a place inside you where your thoughts become clear, your emotions become light, your decisions become wise, Your reactions become controlled. Your purpose becomes visible. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of awareness. We live in a world designed to keep you distracted. Apps want your attention. People want your time. Companies want your energy. Society wants your obedience. Everyone wants something from you, except you. Stillness is the moment you give something back to yourself. It is the moment you choose you. That night in the car changed Armin. He didn't transform in one day. He didn't become a monk. He didn't delete social media. He didn't quit his job. He simply made one decision: to sit with silence for 10 minutes every day. And slowly, he felt his anxiety loosen. He felt his breathing deepen. He felt his thoughts organize. He felt his emotions soften. Stillness didn't remove his problems. It made him strong enough to face them. Like the Stoic said, is greater than. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Stillness changes that estimate. It changes you. Imagine a room inside your mind. A room where no one else is allowed. A room where no negativity can enter. A room where the world cannot disturb you. Stillness is that room, and every time you step into it, you become clearer, sharper, calmer, wiser, stronger. This room is your refuge, and it is always open. You simply forget to visit it. Real power is not loud. Real power is not forceful. Real power is not aggressive. Real power is calm alignment of mind. A calm mind sees opportunities. A restless mind sees threats. A calm mind makes decisions. A restless mind makes mistakes. A calm mind speaks truth. A restless mind speaks fear. A calm mind attracts respect. A restless mind begs for validation. Stillness is not passive. Stillness is power. Armin's life didn't change because the world slowed down. It changed because he did. The more he practiced stillness, the more he understood. He didn't need to chase approval. He didn't need to respond to everything. He didn't need to be everywhere. He didn't need to compete with anyone. He simply needed to master himself. And that mastery began with silence. There comes a time in everyone's life when the real storm is not around us, but inside us. A storm made of doubts, fears, memories, regrets, expectations, and endless noise that never lets us breathe. You may look calm from the outside, but inside, 100 thoughts are crashing like waves. Most people think stillness means sitting silently, but real stillness is something much deeper. It is when the mind, heart, and soul finally agree to stop fighting each other. When you stop debating the past, stop chasing the future, and stop arguing with yourself. Stillness is not escape, it is alignment. Imagine you're walking with a heavy bag. Inside it are all the things you've been carrying for years, conversations you wish went differently, mistakes you replay every night, people who never apologized, moments that broke you, expectations you could never meet. Now imagine someone tells you, put the bag down. And for the first time, you realize you always had the choice. This is what stillness feels like. Gentle permission to stop carrying what drains you. When you stand still, you start hearing things you never heard before. The quiet voice inside you that whispers the truth. The intuition that warns you when something isn't right. The wisdom that says, not everything deserves a reaction. The strength that reminds you, you don't have to chase. Most of us react too quickly out of fear, out of insecurity, out of impulsive emotion. But stillness teaches patience, and patience gives clarity. Clarity gives power. There is a moment, right before you react, where you decide who you are. Silence gives you that moment. Stillness gives you that power. And slowly, you begin to understand, life is not asking you to run faster. It's asking you to look deeper. The restless world around you will always try to pull you into chaos. People will expect instant replies, instant decisions, instant forgiveness, instant transformation. But real strength grows slowly. Real decisions are made quietly. Real healing takes time. Stillness is the art of choosing your pace. You stop letting the world rush you. You stop letting people's opinions push you. You stop letting emotions control you. You begin to respond with intention, not impulse. A wise person once said, "The one who stays still sees more than the one who keeps moving, because when you are still, you notice the patterns. You see who truly values you and who only uses you. You feel which paths drain you and which ones guide you. You understand which battles are yours and which ones aren't worth fighting." Stillness is not passive. It is observational power. And in this quiet strength, you learn one of life's most important truths. Not everything needs your energy. Not every noise needs your attention. Not every emotion needs your reaction. Not every person needs a place in your heart. When you rise above the noise, you finally remember who you are. Stillness brings you back home to yourself. You realize that peace was never outside. It was always waiting inside. You just needed to stop long enough to find it. There are moments in life when the world seems to push you from every direction. Someone disrespects you. Someone misunderstands you. Someone leaves you without closure. Someone blames you for things you never did. And in those moments, the natural reaction is to fight back, explain yourself, defend your name, or prove your point. But stillness teaches you a powerful lesson. Not every fire needs your water. Not every noise deserves your voice. There is a strength hidden inside people who don't react instantly. They are not weak. They are not afraid. They simply understand that reacting too quickly is like pouring fuel on a fire. Everything burns bigger, louder, and longer. True strength is choosing silence when others expect anger. You may have experienced this many times. Someone tries to provoke you. They push your buttons. They enjoy seeing you emotional. They want your reaction because your reaction gives them power. But the moment you choose stillness, something interesting happens. Their power disappears. Your silence confuses them. Your calmness disarms them. Your peace intimidates them. Because the person who controls their reaction controls the situation. There is a story told in many Stoic teachings about a man who insulted another man in a crowded place. The crowd waited for the insulted man to explode with rage, but instead, he simply smiled and walked away. When someone asked him later why he did not react, he said, "When someone tries to give you a gift and you refuse it, who does the gift belong to?" They replied, "To the giver." The man smiled again and said, "Then let him keep his insults." Stillness is refusing to accept what is not yours. People's anger is not yours. People's insecurities are not yours. People's jealousy is not yours. People's chaos is not yours. You only suffer when you pick up the things that don't belong to you. Stillness is not about being emotionless, it's about being emotionally disciplined. It's the ability to feel deeply but respond wisely. Sometimes the best reaction is no reaction. Sometimes walking away is the greatest show of dignity. Sometimes choosing peace is the most powerful decision you can make. And yes, it takes courage. It takes courage to stay silent when your ego wants to speak. It takes courage to let go when your heart wants to hold on. It takes courage to be still when the world tells you to rush. It takes courage to be calm when everything feels like chaos. But the reward is freedom. Freedom from drama, from unnecessary battles, from emotional exhaustion. When you practice stillness, you start noticing something surprising. Life becomes lighter. Your mind becomes clearer. Your heart becomes softer. Your decisions become wiser. And most importantly, you stop losing yourself in situations that don't deserve you. Stillness helps you see the truth behind every situation. You begin to understand people's intentions, not just their words. You see patterns in their behavior, not just the momentary action. You notice what truly matters and what never did. And slowly, you start rising above the noise of the world. You no longer respond from insecurity. You no longer argue to be right. You no longer chase validation. You no longer attach your peace to other people's behavior. You realize that inner peace is not something you find. It's something you create. It is built slowly, quietly, silently, with small decisions. Choosing silence over shouting. Choosing patience over panic. Choosing reflection over reaction. Choosing peace over everything. This is the art of stillness. A strength that no chaos can overpower. A calm that no insult can break. A peace that no person can take away. Because the one who owns their mind owns their life. There comes a moment in every life when the noise outside becomes too loud, too many opinions, too many expectations, too many fears, too many uncertainties. And in that moment, you realize something important. The world isn't overwhelming you. Your mind is overwhelmed by the world. Everything begins inside you. The stress, the fear, the anxiety, the confusion, the frustration, even the loneliness. Stillness teaches you a truth most people never understand. If you don't calm your inner world, no outer world will ever feel peaceful. You can change your environment, your city, your people, but until you change your inner atmosphere, the storm will follow you everywhere. Stillness doesn't start with silence in the room. It starts with silence in your thoughts. The mind is like a room with 1,000 open windows. Every window lets in a different noise. Someone's judgment, someone's expectation, someone's disappointment, someone's problems, someone's emotions, someone's criticism. And most people spend their whole life trying to close the windows outside, not realizing the real window is within. Stillness is the moment you begin closing the inner windows, the window of overthinking, the window of fear, the window of anger, the window of comparison, the window of insecurity, the window of regret, the window of attachment. Only then does peace enter the room of your mind. You must understand something powerful. Your mind can be your safe place or your prison. Your thoughts can guide you or destroy you. Your inner voice can heal you or hurt you. Stillness is choosing to take back control of that inner voice. Most people live their life like a storm, reacting, rushing, panicking. But those who practice inner stillness, they move differently. They speak less, but understand more. They rush less, but achieve more. They argue less, but win more. They worry less, but live more. Stillness gives you the ability to see life clearly, without the dust of emotion, without the fog of fear, without the noise of opinions. Imagine standing at the edge of a lake. The water is disturbed, moving in every direction, reflecting nothing. That is the mind of most people. But now, imagine the lake settling, becoming still. Suddenly, the surface becomes a perfect mirror, reflecting everything with clarity. That is a still mind, a mind that sees truth without distortion. Stillness is not escape. It is not avoidance. It is not weakness. Stillness is power. The power to choose your response. The power to understand before acting. The power to stay centered when life pushes you off balance. The power to rise above emotions instead of drowning in them. When you practice stillness, something beautiful begins to happen. You start hearing things you never heard before. Your intuition, your deeper wisdom, the quiet truth behind your own fears. You start noticing patterns in your life, why certain things affect you, why certain people drain you, why certain situations repeat. Because stillness exposes everything you've been running from. This is why most people avoid silence. Because silence reveals the truth. But the ones who sit with their truth become unshakable. Stillness teaches you that you cannot control every situation, but you can control how you rise through it. You cannot stop people from hurting you, but you can stop giving them access to your peace. You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare your mind. You cannot calm the world, but you can calm yourself. And when you calm yourself, the world around you begins to look different. You attract better energy. You take better decisions. You see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You gain confidence where you once felt fear. You find clarity where you once felt lost. Because when the inner world becomes peaceful, the outer world becomes manageable. This is the real art of stillness, not running from the storm, but becoming the calm within it. And once you find that inner stillness, you never live the same again. You become someone who moves with purpose, speaks with intention, chooses with clarity, and walks with quiet strength. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. You don't need to explain. You don't need to chase. Your presence becomes enough. Your peace becomes your power. Your silence becomes your shield. Your stillness becomes your strength. There comes a time in every journey when life becomes too heavy to carry in noise. A time when talking doesn't heal, arguing doesn't help, explaining doesn't matter, and seeking validation only exhausts you. That is the moment you turn inward, not to escape the world, but to rebuild your strength in silence. Stillness is not about sitting in a quiet room. Stillness is about returning to yourself, to the part of you that the world cannot touch. In silence, your deepest battles unfold. This is where you confront the emotions you've ignored, the wounds you've buried, the fears you've denied, and the truths you were not ready to face. Silence becomes a mirror that shows you everything, not to weaken you, but to free you. Because healing begins the moment you stop running from yourself. Most people spend their lives drowning in noise because noise distracts. Noise fills the emptiness. Noise hides the pain. Noise creates the illusion of control. But silence shatters illusions and reveals reality. And when you finally sit with your reality, your pain, your patterns, your emotions, you discover something unexpected. You are stronger than you thought. The human mind is extraordinary. It breaks and then finds a way to rebuild. It fears and then learns to fight. It falls and still rises again. But the rebuilding happens in stillness, not in chaos, not in noise, not in distraction. Think of the strongest trees in the forest. They stand still, silently, yet their roots grow deeper than any storm can reach. That is the strength stillness gives you. Roots, depth, clarity, endurance. Life will always test you. People will always misunderstand you. Circumstances will always shift. Emotions will always rise and fall. But when you master stillness, you stop reacting to every wave. You learn to float. You learn to breathe. You learn to trust the process. Stillness teaches you that everything has its time. Your healing, your success, your clarity, your peace, your transformation. Nothing arrives early. Nothing arrives late. Everything arrives when you are ready to receive it. In stillness, you stop forcing life. You stop begging for answers. You stop chasing what isn't meant for you. You stop clinging to what hurts you. You begin to move with a quiet confidence, knowing that what is meant to stay will stay, and what needs to go will leave. And you stop taking everything personally. You begin to understand that people act from their wounds, their fears, their insecurities, their limitations not because of you, but because of their inner storms. Stillness teaches you compassion. You see through the noise of others. You see their pain behind their actions. You see their confusion behind their words. But most importantly, you see yourself clearly. You understand your triggers. You understand your strengths. You understand your boundaries. You understand your worth. And when you understand your worth, you stop giving discounts. You stop over-explaining. You stop overthinking. You stop overreacting. You stop over-giving. You begin protecting your energy like something sacred because now you know it is. Stillness transforms you from someone who is easily shaken into someone who moves with calm certainty. You stop fighting every battle. You stop responding to every insult. You stop defending every decision. You stop proving your value because your peace becomes too valuable to trade for temporary emotions. And slowly, quietly, you evolve. You grow into someone people notice, not because you're loud, not because you're flashy, but because you carry a kind of peace that the world no longer has. A peace that cannot be bought. A peace that cannot be taken. A peace that comes from understanding yourself. This is the power of stillness, the power to hold your ground when life tries to shake it. The power to stay calm when others lose control. The power to choose wisdom over reaction. The power to rise above the noise. In a world that moves too fast. In a world that speaks too loud. In a world that rushes without thinking. Stillness becomes your superpower. It makes you unshakable. It makes you intentional. It makes you disciplined. It makes you wise. Stillness does not change the world around you. It changes the way you walk through the world. Your steps become lighter. Your choices become clearer. Your emotions become calmer. Your presence becomes stronger. Because the world is restless, but you are not. The world is chaotic, but your mind is centered. The world is loud, but you move quietly with purpose, with balance, with grace, with strength. This is what it means to live with inner stillness. This is what it means to find strength in a restless world. If this message brought you clarity, consider joining our journey of Stoic wisdom. Subscribe to Daily Stoic Wisdom for more timeless guidance.